Good evening, I'm Katie Barecki.
And I'm Adam Bartlemay. You're watching 9 and 10 News, Northern Michigan's news leader.
People are voting, people are engaged, and people know the rules.
Election day is here, and there are only a couple of hours left until polls close in most of Michigan. From the presidential race.
Let's be intentional about building coalitions.
And I will bring back the American dream. We're going to bring back the American dream.
To Michigan's open U.S. Senate seat, from congressional races to which party will control the State House of Representatives.
It has been a terrific run, so I'm feeling really humbled and grateful to this community for the support that they've shown.
Voters across northern Michigan making important decisions on the direction our nation and state will take over the next several years. Complete coverage of Election 2024 starts now.
I know that my vote counts and my voice needs to be heard.
Right off the top tonight, voters all across the country lining up outside the polls tonight, casting their ballots in what many are calling one of our country's most pivotal elections. Tonight, we will begin to learn the results of races up and down the ballot.
And to aid in our state and local election coverage, we have crews on standby taking the temperature of races all across the state.
Yeah, that's right. Sheldon Krause is in Novi with the latest on the U.S. Senate race between Democrat Alyssa Slotkin and Republican Mike Rogers.
Meanwhile, Megan Huskins is keeping a close watch on the 1st House District as Democrat Kelly Barr takes on incumbent Republican Jack Bergman.
And Jody Meeson is in Isabella County, where voters are deciding whether to approve an operating millage for the county sheriff's office.
And finally, Jatine Tinsley is in Cadillac with the latest on voter turnout as the polls approach closing time.
And before we get to all of that, the headline for tonight will be the presidential race.
And polls are still showing a near dead heat between former President Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris, though the most recent figures are giving Harris an edge, but it's still well within the margin of error. Harris is spending her day in Washington, D.C., squeezing in some last-minute radio interviews before polls close. Afterwards, she plans to attend a family dinner before heading to her alma mater, Howard University, for a watch party. She also made an unexpected appearance at the DNC headquarters this afternoon.
I just wanted to come by and thank everybody for all you are doing. This truly represents the best that we are. Just reaching out to folks, letting them know that we're all in it together, reminding them of the power of their vote through their voice. This is just the best. And I just thank you all so very much.
As for former President Donald Trump, he's hosting a series of remote rallies today aimed at several battleground states and will be hosting a watch party at his Florida estate, Mar-a-Lago. After casting his vote earlier today in Palm Beach, the former president also visited his campaign headquarters, where he spoke to reporters, hoping to cool concerns that he may not concede when the race is called.
I think they're crazy. If I lose an election, if it's a fair election, I'd be the first one to acknowledge it. And I think so far I think it's been fair. I think there's been a lot of court cases. Both sides are lawyered up. Thousands of lawyers are involved, thousands, can you imagine? And part of that is because we have too complicated a process.
And we are starting to hear from some voters on why they chose to vote the way they did.
Now let's take a look at what they had to say.
I don't agree with how he comes across at times. But I think he gets the job done. I think he did it before, and I believe he could do it again. I do.
What really drives my vote is the fact of this reproductive stuff. I'm a woman. I don't want to even discuss with anyone else.
Now, it may be Election Day, but we don't expect the presidential race to be called today. Election Day could extend into Election Week, as all of these ballots cast have to be counted.
Now moving to a look at Michigan's U.S. Senate race as Democrat Alyssa Slotkin and Republican Mike Rogers compete to take over for the retiring Debbie Stabenow. Both candidates bring experience from Capitol Hill and a background in U.S. intelligence. 9 and 10 Sheldon Krause is live in Novi tonight for us. And Sheldon, can you tell us what we've been hearing about this race? It's close.
Adam, we're here at the Suburban Collection Showplace in Novi for the Michigan GOP Watch Party. They'll be gathering here tonight to support U.S. Senate candidate Mike Rogers, who's taking on Democratic Representative Alyssa Slotkin. The neck-and-neck race could help determine the balance of power in the Senate and impact policymaking for the next president. Republicans are going into the night with at least one predicted flip, West Virginia's open Senate seat, bringing the chamber to 50-50. Republicans would need a win in Montana, Ohio, or Michigan to recapture the chamber. Control of the Senate would be essential to the next administration's policymaking abilities. The last president to enter office with a divided Congress was George H.W. Bush in 1993. The Senate has the responsibility to confirm cabinet members and federal judges who can influence the law for years after their appointment. Republicans have remained optimistic about their chances to replace outgoing Democratic Senator Debbie Stabenow, saying that Michigan voters are ready for a change after decades of Democratic representation. The campaign has centered on issues including easing the cost of goods and housing, electric vehicle support, and abortion rights, all of which could come before the Senate under the next president. Alyssa Slotkin will be watching the results come in from Detroit with Democratic state leaders. We'll be reporting live from the Democratic Watch Party. Live in Novi, Sheldon Krause, 9 and 10 News.
All right, Sheldon, thank you. Moving to the House of Representatives now, where we're looking at Michigan's 1st District. Northern Michigan is deciding tonight whether to have Republican Jack Bergman return to Capitol Hill in 2025 or send Democrat Kelly Barr in his place. The 1st District covers all of the Upper Peninsula and most of the northern lower region. 9 and 10's Megan Huskis is in Traverse City with the latest on this race. And Megan, what can you tell us?
Katie, the race for the 1st Congressional District is between incumbent Congressman Jack Bergman and Kelly Barr, who's a lawyer and veterans mental health advocate. If Bergman wins, it will be his 5th term. Bergman served in the military for 40 years before taking a seat in Congress. Some of the issues he is concerned about are safety at the border, good education systems, and making it more affordable for Americans to live day to day. His opponent, Democrat Kelly Barr, has a history in advocating for those in the military due to her own spouse serving the country. Barr has 2 daughters and has concerns for reproductive rights. Her campaign also focused on lowering costs and creating good-paying jobs. Barr declined to do an interview but sent us a statement. Both candidates tell us how they are feeling as the race continues. Barr says, "We are incredibly proud of the campaign here for Michigan's 1st Congressional District. Over the last year and a half, we have built a powerful coalition in Upper and Northern Michigan. Believing in our collective voice as Americans, regardless of political party. We know we will rise or fall together, and we only move forward by bridging unity, not by creating division."
Well, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling energized, but it's important that we have good people willing to sacrifice their time for the betterment of the country. And in my case, for the betterment of the country, which I did for 40 years in a Marine uniform. But now I represent all of the constituents of the 1st District of Michigan, not just those who voted for me.
Barr is in Sheboygan and Bergman is in Petoskey, where they both will be watching. Watch 9 and 10 News at 10 and 11 to hear about the issues that candidates say voters are bringing to the polls. Megan Huskins in Traverse City, 9 and 10 News.
All right, thank you very much, Megan, for that live report. There are 4 candidates who threw their hat into the ring for the 2nd Congressional District, with the frontrunners being the current incumbent Republican Congressman John Molinar being challenged by Democrat Michael Lynch.
The 2nd District covers 20 counties, including several here in northern Michigan. Molinar first won a seat in Congress in 2014. His re-election campaign has centered around the economy, illegal immigration, and securing the southern border. His Democratic challenger, Michael Lynch, currently works for the Saginaw Chippewa tribe in business development. Lynch hasn't run for office before, but has been involved in national politics over the years, campaigning for Jimmy Carter, Al Gore, and Barack Obama. His campaign has been focused on jobs, families, and freedom.
I feel very good. You know, there's always uncertainty because you don't know the outcome of the election. But, you know, I think it's been a good campaign. And I'm excited to see the outcome and look forward to continue to work to make our country great again.
It is an uphill battle, but you got to be willing to fight the fight. I mean, you can't just surrender just because, you know, it's going to be tough. When you fight a fight that is difficult and you end up victorious, it just makes it that much sweeter.
Both candidates say they're excited and ready for tonight, and both will be watching the results rolling closely. holding watch parties with their family, friends, and campaign staff. The two other candidates running for the 2nd Congressional District include Ben DeJong of the Libertarian Party and Scott Adams for the U.S. Taxpayers Party.
And Katie, we should soon know the fate of the Isabella County Road Patrol. After months of uncertainty, the entire Road Patrol division could be eliminated because of a budget shortfall. Voters are deciding whether to pass a special $3.7 million Road Patrol millage to keep 20 officers on the roads. 9 and 10's Jody Meeson is live at the Isabella County Sheriff's Office in Mount Pleasant and has more details on this critical decision and how we got here. Jody.
Adam, it's been a rocky and unpredictable year in Isabella County. Last February, voters turned down a $2.5 million levy request, and last October, the county building was shut down because of asbestos, leaving the county strapped for money, forcing them to make cuts. One day after the February election, County Administrator Nicole Frost sent out a communication warning people that non-essential services would no longer be offered. Soon after, it was announced that one of the county's largest expenses, the road patrol, was on the chopping block starting in October. However, county commissioners stepped in shortly after and voted to fund the patrol until the end of the year. The millage on tonight's ballot will have the money go almost entirely to wages and personnel costs, with a small portion to help fund vehicle and equipment costs. Sheriff Main says he's looking forward to having some clarity for his department.
I am looking forward today. We need to know, right? This being in limbo has been extremely difficult for everybody. My staff needs to know about their future, so it's kind of out of our hands at this point. The last few hours of voting going on, so we're just waiting to see what happens, and we are hoping for the best.
The proposed millage, if passed, would last for 6 years. If it does not pass, only the sheriff and undersheriff would be left to cover the entire county. Live in Isabella County, Jody Meeson, 9 and 10 News.
All right, Jody, thank you. And with less than 2 hours left to vote, many people are now making that last-minute trip to polling locations to cast their ballot. Michigan is set to remain the same or exceed 2020's voter turnout, according to Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson. 9 and 10's Jatine Tinsley is live in Cadillac with a look at what turnout has been like there. Jatine.
Katie, right now we are seeing a few people making that final push to get their vote in. Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson says she has visited polling locations and seen extraordinary turnout and engagement across Michigan. She believes Detroit could be done counting votes by midnight. She says for the most part, the polling locations in Michigan have been without issue. But there have been a few non-credible bomb threats sourced back to Russia. They are currently working with law enforcement to investigate these threats.
There have been some disruptions across the state of Michigan, but nothing that we can't handle. We have been preparing for 4 years for this event, for this day and Election Day. We've worked with clerks, law enforcement, and other partners across our state to ensure that everyone is secure. We also have had all the polling locations across the state open, and so people are voting, and that's what's most important.
Secretary of State Benson reiterated that safety and security remain a top priority and votes are secure. Now, if you are in line at a polling location close at 8 p.m., but if you are in line at a polling location by 8 p.m., you won't be kicked out. You'll still be able to cast your vote. Check back with me later on tonight for more updates on this polling location and all across Michigan. I'm Jatine Tinsley in Cadillac, 9 and 10 News.
All right, Jatine, thank you very much. Stay with us tonight for your election 2024 coverage. Our team will be checking in all night to keep you up to date on the results as they come in. If you won't be by your TV, though, we've still got you covered. You can keep up to date on our website, and there you'll have live results. It's all on 9and10news.com. Just click on the Politics tab under News on our homepage. Coming up here on 9 and 10 News, see how Munson is working to get more people moving in the Traverse City area. And later.
I think it's really important because at least it sets the basic groundwork, that foundation for them to understand it.
How Northern Michigan elementary students are using today as an opportunity to learn about how government works.
And it has been a soggy election day out there, and we are getting another good round of some rain now moving in. If you're going to be heading out to the polls, keep that in mind. Much more on that forecast and the rest of the week after the break.